to you, and good morning to many listeners across Liberia and perhaps the world listening to ELBC on different platforms.
Surely. Okay, so Mr. Minister, start the ball rolling from this angle. For the past 48 hours or some 2 hours, let's put it that way, we heard about first the closure of Spoon, media institution, and there were individuals, some naysayers who said that the government was behind the closure of that institution, bringing into serious public disrepute your records when it comes to press freedom and freedom of speech. First, what's the reaction of your government?
Well, we did issue a statement on the closure that the government was not a party, and it's not a party to whatever situation there is between a private citizen and a corporate entity. Mm-hmm. And so that statement is out for the public to know. Unfortunately, those in opposition choose to, as always, win some sort of political capital, all of it, trying to drag the government into a matter that is purely private between an individual and a corporate entity. But Liberians know the truth.
But did the government see this lawsuit coming? Was the government aware?
How would the government be aware of somebody trying to sue somebody? When you try to take, if I try as a private citizen want to take a person to court, do I issue a public notice to the government and say I go and take John Brown to court? No. People don't. It doesn't work that way.
So why do you see your critic will be at your throat that you're trying to muddy your own?
It's simply because they want to win political capital in a political season. But they know as well as I do that this government, President Weir's administration, has an enviable record when it comes to dealing with the media. In the history of our country, you've seen the level of tolerance. The level of tolerance demonstrated by the executive and the government in the exercise of the repertorial duties of the media. You know as well as I do. I'm a media person sitting here, and every day I listen to some of the major platforms and the major channels of our country.
But is the government comfortable with the performance of Spoon?
I mean, the government is not whether or not we're comfortable with anything. It is about people allowing to do their work in an enabling space, and we've provided that enabling space. The government is the government. People, we expect that not all media institutions will sing praises upon the administration, but we also believe that media institutions in an exercise of the repertorial duties will be responsible, because it is their responsibility to be responsible. The ethics of journalism say media people should be responsible.
One of the major political actors, the former vice president, in fact, was throwing jabs at the government of being responsible again, of being behind the closure of Spoon institution.
I mean, that is just shameful. It's shameful, to say the least, and ridiculous, because the former vice president should know better. He should not allow himself as an elderly statesman to be used by those around him. But this matter is clear. It's purely private. A private citizen, Wilmer Smith, versus a corporate entity, Spoon Network. It's a media entity, and Mr. Smith is suing or has sued on the basis he believes of defamation of his character. How can the government be involved? That's a purely civil matter. A pure civil matter has nothing to do with government. So if the former vice president, who's supposed to be knowledgeable, will not allow himself to be used to issue such a statement, that is ridiculous.
Now, so what does the government expect from the performance of the media, ahead of this October 10 election?
We expect a responsible yet probing and quality media in these elections, in the electioneering process. Because the
media that will beat the drum of your re-election?
No. A media that is independent but responsible in the exercise of his repertorial duties. That's what we expect of the media. A responsible media, a media that will ensure that the elections are free, fair, credible, and that will provide for the opportunities that will allow for the free flow of ideas so that the public is informed, the electorates are informed, and can make informed decisions on the basis of responsible reportage.
So you wouldn't have any problem with a media that will be anti-government re-election.
What do you call anti? I don't understand. Somebody, those are your words. We don't see an anti-media in Liberia. I hear these kinds of, nomenclature, anti-government. We do not see an anti-media here. The media is the media, independent media. They do their work as they believe and see fit. We provide an enabling environment for them to thrive, to do their work. That is why you see the president has been in the forefront of championing media freedom. The president himself is the owner of a media entity. So how then? We cannot be calling media people anti-government. It is not us. That's not this government thinking or branding of media houses. We don't do that.
So when you feel comfortable to a media institution that allows people abroad or people outside of the country to use its platform and spew some.
Comfortability is not the right word here, Sorbor. Comfortability, because it's not whether or not we feel comfortable or not. It is about an enabling environment. It is about allowing for the free flow of different kinds of ideas.
So if you are not comfortable, Mr. Minister,
I didn't say you're not comfortable. No, don't put words in my mouth.
No, you said comfortability. It's not a word.
It's not a word, and I'm telling you not to use such words because we as a government. So
you are pleased with media.
We're not looking for comfortability in media.
Okay, so
what we're looking
for
is a responsible media.
Let's move comfortability that you spoke about. Now, so
I speak about it.
I spoke about. So, are you saying that the government is not comfortable or pleased with, in another word, the media institution?
I'm not saying that at all. You keep using that word, government not pleased. I've said to you, you use anti-government. You're using comfortable thing. I'm saying to you, we don't see media as is.
So how
we not branding anybody? We see the media as the media, a partner in progress in the development of our country, in the promotion of democratic pluralism, and in the promotion of the rights of our people.
So what do you say to media institutions that allow its platform to be used by rabble rousers, people in the US, spewing lies against the government?
All we can say to these institutions is that they have a responsibility to be responsible, ethically responsible. That is required of all media houses.
What's the government's yardstick of responsibility?
It is not government's yardstick. Is incumbent upon all media practitioners.
How do you measure responsibilities?
Ethical journalism calls for responsibility. That is it. And that is the
responsibility in the drum of the government
in the measurement of media pluralism, in the measurement of the ethics of journalism. That's why we call ethical responsibility.
And the measurement of beating the government's drum for re-election.
That's your words, not mine.
I'm just asking.
No, you're not just asking. That's your words. You're not asking anybody to beat anybody's drum. We're just saying that the media should be responsible ethically. And all good media houses that know and worth their salt will know what I'm talking about. It's simple. Just be ethically responsible.
What could be the
verifying your allegations, verifying your facts, making sure that your stories are balanced and accurate, and providing for pluralism in the discharge of your responsibility of the repertorial duties. These are core, but these are rudimentary but core issues when it comes to responsibility of the media. That's all.
So what could be the action that's pending for media institutions that will not perform responsibly?
There are no actions in terms of closure. And let me make this thing clear. This government is not in the business of turning back the hands of the gains made in providing for an enabling environment for the media. we want to work, and we have continued to work with the umbrella organization, the press union, to ensure that the media landscape is even deregulated. And so we're not in the business of closing media houses. The people who are head of media institutions are responsible media practitioners. They know they know their P's and Q's, and they know what they should be doing.
So will you condone media institutions that will perform, out of standard?
I mean, I don't understand when you say condone. Media institutions are media institutions. If they cross the ethical lines, we bring them to the requisite knowledge that they cross the line, so that they can know that they cross the line,
and they could face closure as well.
No, I keep saying to you, and I just said to you, this government is not in the business of closing any entity. So again, remove that diction.
Okay.
The government is not in the business of closing any entity. Closing media houses.
But you bring media houses to broke down.
Closing media houses are the thing of the past. It doesn't solve any problem. When media houses transgress, there's a way in which we can deal with the transgression. That is why we work closely with the Press Union of Liberia to talk to the press, to talk to the press through their enabling umbrella organization. There are institutions within the PUL that can ensure and bring media houses to check when they cross the line. Our business is not to carry them to court or to close them down arbitrarily, so to speak.
So I'm asking about the case involving the Spoon FM or the Spoon Media Institution. Mr. Minister, is the government following that case? Do you have any?
We do not have interest.
No interest.
The government,
so you're not going to follow the
government is not a party to the case. So the government does not have an interest. It's not a party to the case. It's a private matter. It's a private matter. Unfortunately, it has happened. We hope that the two parties can find an amicable solution to ending this matter, so that the entity can resume its operations. For us, it is not in our interest to have any media institution closed.
Okay.
But again, Mr. Smith is the one who has complained, and he feels aggrieved and has taken his matter to the law. It is my understanding that they're now before the courts of Liberia. I hope.
It's not being used as an surrogate.
I hope reasonable minds can prevail so that they can find an amicable solution. I don't know what you talk about surrogates. Again, that's your kind of talk, but not within the bailiwick, not within the authority of our government. We don't condone such a thing. We don't understand that.
You're listening to the Sorbor Show, rated on the OBC 99.9 and all frequencies across Liberia. I did say to you that the minister will have an easy city, and so we started the ball.
Yeah, but you come with all kinds of.
Mr. Minister, let me actually answer the question. Yesterday you were sitting down in the position you were asking.
No, I'm not answering the question.
Okay, let's go forward.
No problem.
15 nations, Mr. Minister, endorsing Liberia's candidacy to the UN Security Council. What does that mean?
Well, I mean, it's an attestation of the fact that Liberia remains a responsible member of the Community of Nations. This country has a rich history of championing the cause of the independence of many countries across Africa and perhaps a larger field of the world. The only independent state south of the Sahara for several years. Liberia is founding member of the League of Nations and also the Charter of the United Nations, signed the signature to the Charter of the United Nations. So we're a big country, historically, and so giving Liberia the nod. It's an attestation that countries believe and trust in the leadership of Liberia internationally, and will continue to be that shining bud in the field for countries that are like Liberia.
Does that bring any dividend to the country?
Well, yes, internationally, when countries coalesce around you to bring you to propel you to such a leadership position, it means that you're better off to be seen and favored for a lot of other things. And I think that is an attestation of Liberia's comeback to the international fold. Just a decade ago, we were like a baby being carried around, trying to nurture us to bring us to some level of civility. Today we're contributing to peace across the world.
Okay.
We are contributing to peace in Mali, contributing to peace in Sudan and other nations. So we have resumed our responsibility as one of Africa's leading countries in terms of Pan-Africanism, in promoting world peace and democracy. President Weah is very clear about that. Liberia remains a champion of peace and democracy around the world. All of our positions have been in line with ensuring world peace and ensuring democratic tenets and values across the globe.
Now, just recently, the president was in Guinea-Bissau, Mr. Minister, and there was this call by the citizens there, Liberian, residing there, asking for the establishment of an embassy, in the Liberian embassy. Has the preparation been going on?
It's not as simple as you say. Just because you visit the father comes home and the child says, "Daddy, I think I now need a new Mercedes Benz," means that immediately now you start looking at your bank balances to think whether you can buy a Mercedes Benz. Opening an embassy in a given country requires a lot of other things and consideration, and that will be done by the rightful ministry, which is the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Okay.
If they believe, if the Minister of Foreign Affairs, thinks that such a plea warrants, a look into, he will do, and will give the necessary advice to His Excellency and see exactly what happens. But in the meantime, the plea by the Liberians living in Guinea-Bissau is welcome. Is welcome, and we've heard the plea, and perhaps it might be looked into by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in whatever decision that will do.
But we don't know how soon.
No, I mean, these things are not just a one-day sort of thing. All of the different ramifications associated with whether or not an embassy should be open or not will have to be considered under the circumstance. And so it's not a one-day thing. It's not excuse me, it's not a decision that the Minister of Foreign Affairs can just wake tomorrow morning and say, you know what, I think let's open an embassy somewhere. No, so if there is a consideration of that, I'm sure the Minister of Foreign Affairs will issue some statement about it. But in the meantime, that's we consider it as a request coming from our brothers and sisters living in Guinea-Bissau, and that the ministry is looking into the ramifications of whether or not it is possible or not possible.
Mr. Minister, I want you to listen to a tape, please, and I'm sure when you listen to the tape, I'll ask you your reaction concerning this tape. Please listen to this tape quickly.
And one time I asked somebody, what do we, when we celebrate independence, what do we celebrate? Is it the years or the development? About 5 counties, 6, 7, they have the plan through here to go down. The streets are not even laid out. And because the streets are not laid out, people fight for land. The school they started building here, it can't complete. And we still celebrating the pavement of the Kukuya to Grand Answer Road. Those are the things we're talking about that we must do. The culture that we know should have been a tourist attraction. Is it developed? Those are all the things that bring revenue to the nation and make people happy. We started the Salim market. Is it completed? The Born Technical College, our young people have to go to Monrovia. They have to pay rent. Instead of paving road, instead of giving them education, they said we can get a coach.
That's the impression that the former vice president has given. You are giving our children coach, that draw.
Sometimes it's mind-boggling to hear people of such caliber speak as though they're some high school or junior high school student. It's a shame to this country. This is a man of 40 years plus of public service, rising through the ranks and the file of our country in different levels of the government and becoming the vice president of the country. And he speaks the way he speaks. He brings shame to his family and himself. I say so. On his public radio, by speaking the way he speaks, questioning why we should celebrate independence. He was 12 years celebrating independence of our country as vice president of the country. Did he ask his boss why was she celebrating independence? Did he ask his boss? He didn't. This country has a lot to celebrate. First thing is sovereignty. Our oneness in our diversity, our peace, our security, our collective well-being, our sense of patriotism to our country, to our flag, to ourselves. We may have our internal issues, but to say that while we're celebrating, man, it is just to assume the highest office of our land, reasoning now, has flown to brutish beasts. Is that what we're seeing here? That the former vice president of our country, his statesman has lost his reasoning, his sense of patriotism, his sense of love for nationhood, because that's what we do when we celebrate our national independence. Questioning, it means that he's not fit for the office of the presidency of our country. And that's our reaction to it. To even charge the president of bringing drugs is ridiculously stupefied, so to speak.
Ridiculously stupefied.
Ridiculously stupefied. Check it out. Because he knows the truth. Don't you remember Sleeping with the Dead? The story Sleeping with the Dead? Book, brought to international glare by the former BBC editor-in-chief of the editor of Focus on Africa, Rennie, when he visited here. He saw the BBC magazine Sleeping with the Dead. And our unfortunate brothers and sisters who were doing drugs at the time were bursting into the graves at the Palm Grove Cemetery and sleeping there. The President Weah at the time in power to bring drugs to these people. Super Fridays. Has he forgotten? Was it President Weah in power when the students were neglecting their classes and going on the beaches to celebrate on Fridays and using drugs and all that stuff? Did he forget that they drug thousands of our young people to take up arms and destroy the country that we're fighting to rebuild? Where was President Weah in all of this? And where was he in all of this? Have they forgotten? Well, we have to retell the story. And it's shameful that man of great statesman who allowed himself to sink to such a level, carrying that kind of message around and say he's fit for office of the first office of our land, that's ridiculously stupefied to speak that way.
Okay, so also, Mr. Minister, there's been this criticism, in fact, from some quarters that your government is still dragging its feet in taking to court those 3 sanctioned ministers. It said it is your responsibility to do so. How do you react to that?
Who sanctioned these people? Not our government. They have broken no laws in our country, as far as we know. We all woke up to the announcement by the U.S. government under the Treasury Department sanctioning these individuals for what they believe were the actions that border on the security nature of the United States of America in exercise of their responsibilities here. And the sanctions are administrative sanctions. We have not been shared with any evidence, giving any evidence to share to say, look, it is our desire that Liberia look into these evidence and see exactly what they can gather from it for a possible prosecutorial case or prosecution of these
But
people.
did the government request for
Why should the government request? May I ask? Why should the government request? You say my son has behaved in a way that is repugnant and hence can no longer visit your home or enjoy any of the privileges in your home or in your neighborhood or in your compound that you control. That's okay. My son will no longer interact. In fact, my son, for the sake of ensuring good neighborliness, what I want you to do is to avail yourself for any level of investigation by your accusers so that at the end of the day, we can bring some amicable solution to the end to this thing. That's what we've done as a responsible government. So why are people saying we should prosecute? Prosecute on what basis? What basis are we prosecuting? On what basis are we investigating? What will be the reliance of the government? Oh, American people say, you did this, you did that, you did the other. Is that why we are taking to court? We have to have something to go on. And if that is not brought before the government, then it's difficult for the government to do anything. But the accusers themselves have asked the U.S. for an opportunity to be heard. They've asked the U.S., they've challenged their sanction and said, look, we hope that we can have a day where we can review the evidence so that we can provide defense whatever accusations that have been leveled against us. I would hope that would be the case. That those who stand accused can review the evidence so that they too can find a way to exonerate themselves. So I think that's where we are. But we cannot go to court in the absence of the requisite evidence to
the concern is that,
anything.
Mr. Minister, the concern is that, but some members of the critics is that while those individuals are sanctioned and you've taken action against them by asking them to tender in their resignations, they've done so. Yet, you see some of them still, in political processes and vying for position.
It is because it is their inalienable rights guaranteed by our Constitution that they have not broken any laws in Liberia, so we cannot inhibit them from exercising their political rights. Only our courts, through competent jurisdiction, to a competent process of law that can enjoin the rights of people. Just because they've been sanctioned by the United States does not mean that they've broken laws in Liberia.
Okay.
No.
Now, let's go to the case involving the former Chief Justice, Gloria Musu-Scott. Again, there are critics who think that you're trying to keep Gloria Musu-Scott in jail for no reasons, linking her to the murder of her daughter and all of that.
What would be the motivation for such? We ask. What would be the motivation for such? This government is not in the business of witch hunting its own citizens. This government is not in that business. We've gone beyond that kind of political, machinations. Those were the things of the past, of yesteryear's Liberia, not today. When we've made all the democratic gains, we're building strong democratic institutions. Our courts are becoming so independent. Our legislature the same. We have a system, a political system where the pluralism is clear and it's open, it's transparent. We're conducting elections on our own, whether they are the municipality elections, whether they are the representation election or senatorial elections. We're conducting these kinds of elections on our own and scoring bigly in our democratization of our country. Why would we want to erase that?
Because if
there is a crime which has now been established, then there has to be culpability. And according to the police, the former Chief Justice and 3 others should be held culpable for what happened at the night of February 22 at her home. And hence the law is the best place for such actions. And so the government, through its prosecution arm, has taken them to court.
Because the argument is that, Mr. Minister, you dragged or you delayed in taking those people to court until there was this major public protest before.
No. I mean, what has the public protest, what do they have to do with an ongoing murder investigation? The investigation was taking place, to derive a conclusive investigation that will lead to prosecution or non-prosecution. There had to be some methodical and thorough, approaches, and that's why the police and the investigators were going through. So it did take time. In fact, in advanced countries where you have all of the different kinds of forensics and sophisticated, scientific ways of dealing with these things, you still see some unresolved or unsolved murder cases. What about Liberia? So I want to commend the Liberian National Police and the core team of investigators for such a short period in deriving, the conclusions they derived.
Okay.
And they put that case before a grand jury. And the grand jury of 12 persons have seen the evidence, examined the evidence produced by the prosecution team, and said, hey, we believe that there's a reason for these people to answer to the cause of death. And so they are being held. And you know as well as I do, our laws, I'm not a legal person, but once you are charged with murder, then it becomes a non-bailable offense. You cannot be billed.
Okay.
And so there's no politics here, except those who want to politicize the case for whatever reasons they want to do, which is bad. They should stop. This matter now is what the lawyers would say sub judice is before our courts. Let's allow for the legal process to play out.
Okay. Now, Mr. Minister, I'm sure I'll be opening the lines very soon. Your president, the president of the Republic of Liberia, our president. No, I'm just playing the double advocate here now. Our president is it's going for re-election. You said that on several occasions that you'll be. In fact, he was just in the Guinea-Bissau. He said that to his colleagues. Do you care to bring us up to speed, Mr. Minister, as to on what basis is this president wanting the people to re-elect him? On what basis? What are the indicators there?
Sorbor, what do you think? The president is running on an enviable record. A stewardship that has shown so much dividend as a result of 5 years of hard work on his part. He's made so much progress in different areas. You name them. Whether it's the issue of education. The president took over a country where the education was described as what? Yes, it's messy. Yes, it's why. Today, can we see the scene of our education of our young children? No. They're passing in their numbers. Have you forgotten that 25,000 of our young peoples graduating high school and taking the entrance of the University of Liberia flunk? 25,000 of them.
That was before there.
Yes. And who was vice president running today for presidency? And let's say, what did he do to help these young people? Nothing. When President Weah was in the Senate, he was paying WAEC fees for some of these students to relieve the burden from their parents.
Sure.
As soon as he took over, he said, what I'll do, I promise you, if when I win, I'll make WAEC, I will show that the government, assume the responsibility of paying the WAEC fees for the students, so that you can take the time you take gallivanting, looking for a sponsorship for your WAEC, you can sit down home and review your lessons and be studying so that you pass. Today we see that the results, they're there. Numbers don't lie. Since the president being in office, We have had almost 300 and almost 350 something thousand students who have taken WIAC, both at the level of ninth grade and the senior high, which is 12th grade. No, that's a huge number of people. Nobody now. Once you're in high school, you can be deprived of taking your WIAC simply because your parents can't afford. We've seen our students now, and they're not just taking the test; they're passing in great numbers, and they're doing well.
That's in education.
That's in education alone. We're building 3 model high schools, born named by Mark Gibby, improving education, primary education. I was listening on Friday to the deputy minister. They're building early childhood schools, 18 across the country. We're renovating, facilities, education facilities across Liberia. More teachers are being trained. The results are becoming visible in education. And if you take away from education, let's move to health. What have we seen? First President we took over. What did he do? He visited JFK, he and his wife. He made it so much like a priority that you can see what is happening today at JFK. I am a testimony of. I tell people, I say, if you're sick, go to the JFK. They have all of the specialists there, all of the doctors. I was amazed when I went the other day. They have a cardiology unit now, built by the Chinese. I think 2 or 3 doctors have just returned, including Dr. Barkley from China. Went to study in cardiology how to run that center. Another 2 are expected to leave in September. We now have an up-to-date trauma unit, never there before. Dialysis, a new dialysis center. So the JFK is taking shape. Renovation at the building. I've been up and down in that building because I haven't been too well in the last 2 months. Dr. Brown team doing so excellently well. So what are you talking about?
What's about
the doctors. When we took over, doctors were making as low as $700.
Okay.
So they're making $2,000 plus, and we're training more doctors. We're providing for basic health care across the country, whether clinics or referral hospitals. More training of trainers are taking place at various hospitals across the country. So things are not on the downward; they're on the upward.
Okay.
And that's the work of the president is running on, and we can talk about it. If I sit here, we can talk for the next 1 hour, and I can tell you all of the different things the president has done under his leadership that warrants his re-election without even a stupor.
Okay. Now, so the president will be going for re-election now, Mr. Minister, along with two political opposition leaders who are somehow new in the country, making reference to Alexander Cummings and Joseph Yuma Boyka. They projecting themselves as the fixers and the fixers and the rescuers. Is your government in any way apprehensive, especially with the speed at which they are moving?
When a team is winning, whether or not somebody comes and say, "Look, I can coach the team better," people say, "You gotta be crazy." Who changes a winning coach or a winning team? Who does that? Nobody. We're not apprehensive at all, because the people in your villages and towns, in your communities, see and can feel what the president and the government have been doing for them.
Okay.
So there is no need to be apprehensive over nothing. Just in our community, and let me go back to the former vice president, because we are committed. We live in the same neighborhood. Prior to President we are taking over, the road leading to my house leads to the public high school there, Kennedy High School. Some of this rainy season, it was so. If you see the children going to school, you'll be crying. Children used to put black plastic bags on their feet to stop them from the mud, and then put the uniforms in another set of plastic bag or plastic covering or something to go to school, to get access to that high school. As soon as President Weah took over, what did he do? He paved all of the lateral roads in the community. He usually referred to it, he said that our place now looks like Miami. And that's why people, the presidency, the whole country look like Miami. No! Go to the rehab community, ask the people, the community dwellers there. They'll tell you. And that's happening across communities in the city. As they're fixing the major Roberts International Highway, more and more community roads are being paved so that people can access various communities, not even having to use the Roberts International Highway. These things are going on.
Okay.
And then you think the ordinary people don't know? The people in Johnsonville and other places, that were suffering as a result of the bad roads in their communities. Today, the roads are being done. You think they forgot? Or they've forgotten? No, they're not. And they're happy.
Okay.
The communities that now are receiving current and affordable and cheap current, affordable current. More and more households coming onto the grid. You think they forget? You know how much it costs to run a generator every night? At the minimum is $20. If you run your generator from 7 to 7, that counts about 30 days. That's $600. Then you're not even talking about servicing of the generator every 2 weeks. All of that costs have now been removed. The economic burden has been removed from people. I used to, Central Monrovia. If you, prior to this administration, if you went to Central Monrovia, around the street and other areas, you hear the generator sound just like a honeybee hive. One man generator to the other man generator, front door to the back door. All those small businesses today can afford a little current. All the barber shops and things, beginning by the 10-hour current, they put the air conditioner on. A whole week plus, enjoying themselves.
Surely.
They don't have to think about buying generator again, oil and servicing,
filter, all that
stuff.
Okay, now, so when
these are the economic benefits that the people of the ordinary people. Stability in the price of rice, our staple. Finally, affordability for petroleum product over the years. What are we talking about? You think the people forget these things? People don't forget. And we can talk and talk and talk.
Finally, when is the president hitting the road?
Well, he will decide what he wants to do. In the thick of the rainy season now, remember beginning next month begins the
campaign.
Starts the campaign. So he will decide. A schedule of implementation will come up.
Okay.
I'm sure at the level of the party, they're doing the homework. But when the time reaches, the president was in Buchanan over the weekend. He went out there to receive an endorsement by the Weah for Bassa, group. You saw the mammoth turnout again of the people of Bassa. The president's mom is a Bassa-speaking woman. She's from Riverses. And the president has always identified with the people of Bassa because, that's his second home.
Okay.
So, he's going to hit the road.
Okay. 0776540987 or better still 0880-514-096. Our guest here is the Minister of Information, Ledgerhood Rennie. 0776540987. Our first caller. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning. Go right ahead.
Okay, my name is Patrick, and I'm calling from the city of Johnsonville. So let me say thank you to your studio guests this morning. And I'll let you recommend this. If people like some to where Ledgerhood really coming into studio, I will kindly ask you to get at least 2 hours to speak with that people. Thank you.
Okay, many thanks. Good morning.
Sorbor, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Pascal Davis, member of the Purple Defense Team. And let me say kudos to our minister. You know, Sorbor, we want the rain to even fall more. We want it to be very heavy because we will work on the rain to appreciate the president. Somebody asked me, what are you going to say? And I told the person, I can't sit there and name everything. It's uncountable. They're countless. They're infinite. So I'm just going to say, President, we are thank you. And so, yeah, even the rain can have the biggest fall today. We will march through it. I mean, when it comes to George, we are not soft. We will walk through the rain and we'll go to a somewhere at the HQ to appreciate the president of 6 years of developing our country. Thank you so much, Mr. Minister, and we hope to see you at the HQ this morning. Thank you.
Okay. Good morning.
Good morning, Sorbor.
Yes, good morning, ma'am.
And good morning, Ledgerhood.
Good morning, madam.
Yeah, this is Rose Speaker Party. You are, Sorbor, let me tell you, we used to get up on area 4 o'clock in the morning to get our pension. Yeah, I mean, we don't buy gas in my yellow gas, so now, so how many for gas? How many for gas now? I tell you, I'm coming to my house. We are hospital free on their life. They go on the giant plate, they cut later, they will come and keep blacking it. You go out when the chair car was sick, I tell you what for sick. I want chair car, I gave my everything I chair car. And I went to my treatment. Yeah, what they need for this there? The one with blood and the weird, one with blood all the fire of God, blood of cancer, what is what's wrong with it? Taking a message in the house of people, they're stepping the quota, the speed raw on the border part, they can't they say, what about? I don't know any parents out there, somebody gets pushing it. Our president came in, last president over the summit. I don't know. President, we are going for second time.
Okay, you made your point already. President, we are going for second time. Let's take this caller. Good morning.
Good morning, Sorbor.
Good morning.
This is a professor of where Mosira communication of Usubini. I don't want the minister to do a similar discussion. We are fairly on. In person, now be me that you are for me about me.
Many thanks. Good morning. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Yes, sir.
And I join you from going to count the money is Bango Sawia.
Okay.
And man, concern have been drew to what the minister just talked about concerning the people that were in that place on the sanction. So why the people cannot go to the court to exonerate themselves?
Okay. The minister will respond to that. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Yes, good morning.
My name is Abdurrahman Ba, and I joined the conversation from Ruralite. Let me firstly appreciate the Minister of Information, Minister Julius Rennie. Thank you very much for the level of work you people have done for the Liberian people. And to His Excellency, I want to say congratulations. Thank you. Comes October 10, you're going to be retained. Thank you for the work you've done for the Liberian people.
Many thanks. Let's take this caller. Good morning. Okay, we missed out on this one. Let's take this caller quickly. Good morning. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Yes, sir.
I'm Emmanuel J. Nimnen, calling from the Riha community.
Okay.
I first want to appreciate our minister in studio. And I want to say thank you to our good president, President Emmanuel Weah. I got one message for him. That the minister, please tell our president, because he's going back, that one is nothing for us to drive over. I got one secret for one big blow for him. The hospital he built in Shuffling there. Then he create a road from Shuffling straight to Omega Tower, to the place Omega used to be before. That's a big blow for him in his last tenure. Thank you, and thank you very much.
Okay, many thanks. Let's take 3 more calls and I'll wrap it up. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Hello?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, let's hear from you.
Yeah. I'm George Kazulu calling from Tottenham. Yeah, we said the studio guy, thank you, Ledgerhood Rennie, for a lot of the innovation that he carried on this morning. You know, we can tell people about this government. Some people can say, oh, why see? The government pay why see? We are not working in government. We have to because the people are working in government. They are there, but some, I think if I'm mistaken, 700,000 plus. And the market that are not working in government, they are plenty. So when the government pay why see, we happy that the speed ratio.
Okay. Let me take this last one. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, good morning, sir.
This is Bala Solomon calling from Banga. I want to appreciate the minister in the studio. This morning I've been trying to call the first girls you were having. I wanted to talk for no way. My question to the vice president came in Banga here, talking about dating rules from here to the pastor which way. And I want to find out for him because people always, those are supporting him, they can always say the mayor was vice president for 2 years. I agree now that he was vice president, he could not do anything. But after 2017 up to now, I asked the people, what the project that you are undertaking like right here, even local, we are from local, what the project that you are undertaking from 2017 up to now, that he can able to boast with it, yes, I can able to be local. You see? So when you were talking that I was here in Banga here, I was feeling bad about it. Because they don't do something like you can't able to do it. Thank you this morning.
Many thanks. Let me take this last one. Good morning. Yeah, good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning. Go right ahead.
Yeah, I'm Prince, and I'll call you this morning.
Okay.
So, thank you very much. The government is doing extremely well, but only two things that the government has to improve on. And one of the things the government already improved on is the just issue. The last one is the issue of the civil service, more especially our health worker. If I say the health worker, the doctors are being exempted, meaning that they are being compensated highly, but to our nurses and the efficient system. So I ask that the government at least from there to at least 500. Thank you.
Okay, I'm not taking call anymore, Mr. Minister.
Yes, so you can hear from all across the country the different callers that are calling, commending the government. Like I said to you, so but people in their communities know the truth.
Yeah, surely.
No matter how much people come on the radio or go on social media and try to say all kinds of things about the presidency and the administration of the country, the ordinary people who are the stakeholders of the country, they are the ones going to re-elect His Excellency Dr. George Manawia October 10 in the resounding numbers. They will turn out and they will vote, and they will tell the world that we're satisfied with the first 5 years of the stewardship of the president, first 6 years of the stewardship of the president, and we're hence, re-electing him and certifying him to go for another 6-year term. And so let me end on this note. This issue of the drugs, the president signed a drug law last Thursday.
Surely.
So the law now is supposed to be printed into handbills to become effective, right? But let me say this much. You can see the extent to which we take it as a government very seriously. We're changing the law to create now stiffer penalties for those who engage in trafficking and distribution of drugs in Liberia. We're also, in a clearly defined structural program run by the Ministry of Youth and Sports and international partners, the At-Risk Youth Program. You can see now, we're trying to address drug addiction, especially for our young people who have fallen prey to this societal menace. So we should not be playing politics. This is one issue that should not be about the politics of our country. It should be concerning across all spectrum for or against, so that we can collectively deal with this matter. This is not just a government's responsibility, it's a responsibility of all of us, from the family structures. When a mother gets vexed, or parents get vexed and throw the children out because they say the child is acting bad or he's doing bad things, when you send him to the street, what do you expect? It is part of the responsibility of the parents to take care of the children, regardless of the fact that the children may not be doing the things that they want them to do. They should have a strong hands. Those days, we say we weren't bad too, but our parents didn't put that out. They disciplined us. They kept us home. They disciplined us, and they kept us away from the streets. We should take that responsibility seriously too. You know, the communities, the people know who peddling these drugs. They should take it the responsibility to bring them out to the police, so that these people get arrested and brought to book. So it's a collective national effort that we need to deal with this matter, rather than people trying to politicize it and chunk it on one person's head, blaming somebody who has no reason to be blamed for these kinds of things.
Many thanks. He's the Honorable Minister of Information, Ledgerhood Rennie. Mr. Minister, thank you very much for taking time off your busy schedule to appear today.
Thank you, Sorbor. You see, I've been suffering from malaria the of last week, so my voice is not as optimum as it is, but since I owe you that visit last week, I had to come. I don't know whether the presidential press secretary say this, but I can say there are tangibles coming out of Israel, and one of the tangible that we can talk about here before I close is the fact that the Israeli government, through the instrumentality of the meeting between the Minister of Foreign Affairs, His Excellency D. Maxwell Sakemi Senior, and his counterpart Eli Cohen, the Israelis agreed to build a 1,000 kilovolt ampere KVA, 1,000 KVA solar plant.
Wow.
For the Executive Mansion and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to power these two institutions on Capitol Hill. Yes. If they didn't say so, let me say that today. Let me make that announcement.
Okay.
That the Israeli government agreed to build a 1,000 kVA solar plant to power the Executive Mansion and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. That's one tangible coming out of the Israeli visit. Also, to the Minister of Defense met his counterpart, and through the discussion, there will be military to military assistance coming from the armed forces of Liberia, because this is a national security thing. I will not go into the details of it.
I know,
but that's just the tangibles coming out of Israel.
Okay. We hope to talk about that maybe in our subsequent discussion with you. Thank you very much, Mr. Minister.